So just finding that seat, sitting your hips back and down so the sitting bones feel nice and grounded. Just get a nice sense of the elongation through the lower spine, lifting you upright. Relax your shoulders away from the ears. Hands can be resting onto your thighs. We'll just come into the first few moments of just checking in, just looking inwards, kind of just seeing where your own energy is at this evening. Just making a little mental note for yourself. So you can notice at the end or throughout the practice how these postures and the sequence changes maybe that energetic feeling in the body. So eyes closed or open and just watching the breath. So you can bring your awareness into this solar plexus space. So right, that's sort of the seat of the diaphragm as well. It's sort of just below the sternum and in between the sort of lower ribs, that sort of central area, right? This plexus of nerve endings, right? This is where adrenal glands are located as well. There's all these nerve endings that fire and activate whenever we need to take action. And also whenever we're in stress, right? So just checking in with how you are there. And then see if you can just soften a little bit as though you're sort of knitting the rib cage sort of inward a little bit. So you feel maybe a sense of elongation into that mid-back space. Maybe setting an intention for yourself. Just see what areas in your life maybe you need to give a little bit more energy or attention to. See if we can sort of drum up in this practice those resources that we need to give back to those spaces, sort of when we feel a little bit more drained from other aspects of our life. Can we tap into that internal fire again? Great. And then you can blink the eyes open. I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see the fluids going on here. So you'll take your hands just to the fronts of your shins, and I'll show you the action. So we're going to round in on the exhale and inhale, draw forward. We're going to do about 10 rounds of this, and it's going to be quite quick. So it'll be like that, bringing the chest forward and lifting. And then at the end of the 10th round, you'll sit and we'll draw up right from the pelvic floor, almost like you're pulling up and in, and then hold the breath out at the end of our 10th variation. So take the hands in front of the shins. Take a nice deep breath into the pair. And begin. Exhale. Once you've done your 10, just close the eyes, sit still, see if you can hold the breath and draw up and in from that pelvic floor region. And just notice the energetic quality in the body. Good. Just gently return to a natural flow of breath. And then our next one, place your hands onto your shoulders as though you're sort of wrapping the fingertips around the shoulder, and then allow your shoulder blades to sort of soften down and back as you lift your elbows up a little bit higher. Okay, make sure you're sitting nice and comfortably. And this second one, we're going to inhale right and exhale left. Inhale right, exhale left, quick and sharp movements. So when you're ready, breathing in right. We'll go for a little bit longer with this one. I'll let you know when to stop. Inhaling right, exhaling left. See if you can relax your shoulder blades down a little bit more. Keep the elbows lifted. And notice how we're twisting sort of right at that rib cage space, working into those muscles around the rib cage. Last round, inhaling, exhaling, pause. You can relax the arms down. See if you can hold the breath out, draw up and in from that pelvic area. Just pause for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Return to natural breath. Good. Okay, the last one of these Kundalini style Kriyas. We're going to take the legs out in front, and you can have a little bend in the knees if you need to, or the legs could be straight. Fingers either side of your legs, like so. And we're going to go up and down. So it'll be a little bit like a bowing forward, surrendering down, and lifting back up. Just going down as far as feels comfortable. So inhale up, exhale down. Think about the crown of the head reaching forward rather than bringing it down towards the shins, lengthening through the spine. Let this next round be your last one. And gently come back up. See if you can hold that breath inwards in an upright position. Drive up and in from there. Closing the eyes, relaxing the shoulders. Good. And then gently return to your natural breath. Just roll yourself over so that you can come onto your hands and knees. And we'll just start off in a tabletop just to begin with, to set ourselves up for a down dog. So fingers spread nice and wide, tuck the toes under, sink the hips back towards the heels, so you have that little sense of weight shifting back, and then lift the knees, hover them away from the floor, and take the hips back into your downward dog. So from here, you have a little bend in the knees to begin with, but then you can start to slowly drop one heel to the ground and then the other, just working out through those hamstrings a little bit more. Notice what it feels like as well after that last Kriya. It's a little bit of a stretch into your hamstrings, maybe they feel a little bit more open now. Yeah, nice. If you can draw the energy up and in through the inner thighs, right up into the pelvis then. The knees could be slightly bent still, but see if you can draw the heels back and down towards the earth. Good. Okay, from there, take an in-breath, come forward into a climb position. Reach forward through the crown of the head. See if you can feel like the fronts of the thighs are lifting away from the ground as you send the heels back towards the wall behind. And then slightly press your hips forward towards your armpits so you feel your inner thighs squeeze together and your lower abdomen switch on a little bit. So building a little bit of fire. Take another 3 breaths. And then press all the way back and up into your downward facing dog. Readjust your feet as you need to. If you feel like you need to pedal out the legs a little bit more too. Find that sense of length through the spine. Then take an in breath to lift your right leg all the way up towards the sky, reaching back through the inner part of your right ankle. And then step the foot forward and through, lightly lateral between the hands. Left knee to the ground. Take the in-breath to lift the arms up. See if the pelvis is neutral, so just as you need. Maybe that your right hip is lifted a little bit, take it back down to match your left. Reaching through the arms. Exhale the hands come to the ground. Tuck the left toes under. Step back, downward facing dog. Take an in-breath. Lift your left leg towards the sky. Reach and lengthen. Exhale, step forward in between the hands. Right knee comes to the earth. Take an in-breath. Lift up. Check in with your pelvis here again. Check in with your mid-ribs. At this area of the solar plexus, can you soften inwards? Keeping that space open. The back body as well. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step back. Downward dog. In-breath to take the right leg high once again. Exhale, step it forward. Right knee to the ground. Inhale, lift up. Lengthen. Stay nice and straight through the torso. Your shoulders stacking over the ribs, over the hips, sorry. Twist to your right. So you're reaching forward through the left hand and back with the right. You could take your left hand to the outer right knee. Keep reaching back through that back arm. Again here, notice what your hips are doing. See if you can keep that outer right dropping to the ground. Press into the ball edge of your front big toe as well to stabilize you there. And then take an in-breath, lift all the way back, up and through. Step back, downward facing dog. So just taking your left leg straight into the air. Stepping forward and through. Back knee to the ground. Inhale, lifting up. Soften ribs in. Reach forward through the right hand and back to the left. Twist, feel that rotation through from your core all the way up. Good. Maybe that right hand comes to the outer knee. Nice. But don't let it be a lever, more just a positioning there. You're really rotating through the torso. That looks really good. Come back through. So lifting up and over, hands frame the front foot, step back, downward facing dog. Take a calm breath here. Right leg lifts. Step it forward and through, in between the hand. Back knee comes to the ground. Take an in-breath, lift the arms up. Exhale, lower the palms in front of the chest. Palms like fingertips lightly touching, elbows lifted. And then twist again, over towards your right. Okay, stay here, pressing the palms a little bit stronger together. Or if you have the space, you can take your left elbow to the outside of your left knee. See if you can rotate a little bit more through the torso. Turning the rib cage towards the ceiling. See if you can stack your elbows. So you're pressing into the palms, energizing through the arms. See if that right hip can get a little bit more grounded so your pelvis stays neutral. Good. Take an in-breath, lift the elbows away. Twist back through to center, hands to the earth. Step back, downward facing dog. So our down dog is our reset button every time. So find that length and space and breath. And then left leg rises. Good. Exhale, step it forward and through. Nice. Back knee lowers. Take an in-breath to lift the arms. Nice. Exhale, palms come to touch. And then we twist to the left. Feel that movement initiate from your core. Good. Elbow might come to the outside edge. Really nice. Keep that openness. So if you feel like you're kind of collapsing into it, how can you adjust to find more space? Maybe you breathe a little bit deeper. Maybe you lift a little bit higher. Maybe bring that outer left hip closer to the ground so it's reaching downwards. Yeah. Take an in-breath to lift the elbows up. De-rotate back through center. Hands come to the earth. Good. Wobbles are totally fine. Press back. Downward facing dog. Take an in-breath, lift the right leg up. Exhale, step forward. Back knee comes to the ground. Take an in-breath, lift up. Same one again. Exhale, hands in front of the chest and twist through the exhale. Elbow comes to the outside edge of that right knee. Press down into the hands, open through the chest more. Keep the chin in. Bring the head back a little bit if you can. Option now to lift the left knee away from the ground and press back through your left hip. So progression. Could be staying in the same one. Stay, or left fingertips might come to the earth, right fingertips might reach towards the ceiling. Make sure there's space. Not forced movements. You're not blocking the fire, right? Anywhere where we feel compressed, we're also stopping that energy flow, right? So come back to the place where you can feel it moving. Good. Palms come back to touch. Come out the same way we came in. Back knee comes to the earth. Inhale, lift the elbow. Back through to center, hands to the earth. Step back, reset. Find the breath. Find the length and space. See if you can bring your mid-ribs up and in. So finding that solar plexus region. See if you can really access the diaphragm by deep breathing into the belly. Good. Left leg rises. Step it forward and through, in between the hands. Back knee comes to the ground. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to the chest and then twist to the left. Elbow comes to the outside of the left knee. We take it in stages. See if you can turn the torso a little bit more towards the ceiling. Chin in, back of the neck long, and then that option to lift the back knee away from the ground. Good. Option to take the arms wide, making it spacious. Stay as you are. Can you be nice and strong for that back leg as well? The front of the thigh lifts as you press back through the back heel at the same time. So don't lose your attention on any part of the body. And then gently coming back through it in the same way you came in. Take the palms back to touch, back knee lowers. Inhale back through to center, hands to the earth. Step back. Downward facing dog. Good. Calm breath here into the belly. And then take that right leg into the air. Step it forward and through, in between the hands. This time back knee stays lifted. Take an in-breath, come all the way up through to your high lunge position. Hands come to prayer in front of the chest and we'll straight away twist to the right. Elbow hooks to the outside of that front knee. Turning and twisting through the torso, pressing through the palms. Maybe the gaze looks up. See if you can lift that front back thigh away from the ground a little bit more, press back through the heel. You feel kind of lengthening opposite directions. Good. Gently bring your gaze to your front toes. Bend into your back knee so you create a little bit of balance. And then step that back foot forward. So you're in a twisted chair pose here. Palms touching. Still. Good. And then inhale, lift the elbows away from the knee. Twist to center. Reach forward through the arms. Sink the seat back into your Utkatasana chair pose. Sitting bones dropping down. See if you can draw up and in through that lower abdomen. Sort of feeling the energy rise from the pelvis. Good. Palms come back to touch. Exhale, fold forward. Chest over thighs, forehead towards chin, and crown of the head towards the ground. Feel the pelvis tip forward and weight move forward into the toes. And then press down into the earth. Take an in-breath, rise up. Lift and lengthen. Maybe looking towards the fingertips. And then exhale, hands all the way down in front of the chest. Relaxing shoulders, taking just a moment here. Our first upright standing position of the practice. Take another in-breath, lift up. Exhale, fold the body forward, chest to thighs, forehead to chin. Little breath in to lift and lengthen, soften the ribs in. Hands to the ground, step or hop back into a plank position. And we're going to take maybe a chaturanga or knees to the ground, lowering through. Inhaling up. And back to your down dog. Resetting. Good. Can you get a little bit longer through the spine? Connect with the calm breath. And then left leg rises. Reaching back behind. Good. Step it forward and through. Staying high in your lunge this time as you take an in-breath to lift. Exhale, hands in front of the chest. And then we'll twist over to the left this time. Maybe that right elbow hooks to the outside of the left knee. Good. See if you can create a little bit more space by getting a little stronger through the legs. Beautiful. And then you're taking a little bend into your right knee as you look down towards your front foot. And then you step that back foot forward to meet your right. So you're in this kind of twisted chair pose. Nice. Sink the hips back a little bit deeper if you can. Keep both legs straight. You're doing really well. Good. And then take an in-breath. Lift the elbows away from the knees. Reach the arms. Keep the hips sinking back. One more breath here. And then exhale, allow it all to just fold forward and down. Weight is heavy. Body dropping. Good. Press down into the earth. Take an in-breath, rise up. And straight through to your forward fold once again. Hands to the earth, step. Or take a hop back into plank. Your choice, chaturanga, knees, or straight back into your downward facing dog. Lovely. See if you can find that little bit more length by drawing up through the inner thighs. Feel that energy rise. Good. And then take your right leg into the air. Step it forward and through in between the hands. Take an in-breath, rise up, high lunge. Getting nice and strong here. And then from there, we're going to drop the back heel to the ground, like you're setting up for warrior. Take the arms out wide. Just going to turn around so I can still see you. Good. Then you're going to shift the weight forward into your front foot to get nice and strong through it as you slide the back foot forward. So you're kind of in a little balance here. And then reach your right hand so the fingertips just come out in front of you, and you're not going to be touching the ground, just hovering the fingers there. And your back toes might just lift up. So you're just floating here. If you can, see if you can turn the chest a little bit more open towards the side. Maybe the top hand lifts up. And that back leg can be high or low as you need it to be. Really nice. Okay, and then we're going to come into a little tricky transition. So turn the chest to face towards the ground now, so the torso and the hips are level to the front of the mat. Lift all the way up and through. Keep the back leg lifted and then start to bring it up and in towards your bum. So the heel is coming closer to the bum. Keep your right arm lifted as you reach your left arm back behind, touch hold of the foot. And then you can stay here, bring the knees together. Or you can start to reach forward and press the foot into the hand. As you reach out and open into dancer pose. Really nice. Just feel into all that work through that standing leg, like you're building that proprioceptive connection, your awareness of yourself in space, right? Beautiful. And then gently release the foot. We're going to step it all the way back, so maybe the palms come to touch, and just reach it back, lightly landing. Take an in-breath, reach the arms. Exhale, hands to the ground, step back. Back into your downward facing dog this time. Take a breath here. Reset it. Good. And we're going to have to do that all on the other side. So take the left leg into the air. Step it forward and through. Stay in that high lunge. So you take an in-breath to lift up. Good. Take your time with no rush. More fire bells as we go a little bit slower, right? Back heel comes to the ground, open up. Warrior two. And we're just here for a moment. It's our setup. So we shift the weight forward into that front foot. Back toes will slide in a little bit, so just leaning forward almost. Then the left fingertips come to the earth. As the back toes start to lift, come into the Ardha Chandrasana. So it's an unsupported Ardha Chandrasana. So fingertips could be high or lower to the ground. As you try to turn your chest a little bit more open. Beautiful. And you could be looking down. That's easier for balance. Or you could turn your gaze to the other side. Have a little something for support if you need it. Beautiful. Good, and then we're going to transition the torso so that it's facing towards the ground now. So take your time, maybe the back toes are low, palms touching, or reaching forward to come all the way up. And then bring that heel in towards your bum, right up and in. And then this time the right arm comes down, catches hold of the ankle. Bring both knees sort of close together so they're in the same line. And then start to reach the knee back in space. Press the foot into the hand. And maybe reach forward and come a little bit deeper into that dancer. Yeah, gorgeous. Really nice. So you'll see it's a bit of a quad stretch. And a little bit of a back bend. You come a little bit further forward. Good. Then gently release the foot. And we'll step it back as though you're reaching as far back as you can along the mat. And then lightly landing it to the earth. Good. Take an in breath, reach the arms up. Then exhale, hands come down to bring the front foot and step it back. Downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths here. Child's pose is also always a nice option. Lift the heels, bend the knees. Take your gaze to the forward step. Take a hop if you're feeling springy, or walk to the top of your mat. Take an in-breath when you arrive, exhale, folding the body forward. The hamstrings a little deeper into it by tipping the pelvis forward, shifting the weight into your toes. Then press down into the earth. Take an in-breath, reach up, lengthen, soften the ribs inwards, creating that space through the mid-back. And then exhale, hands all the way in front of the chest. Good. Okay, lift your right foot up. And we're going to step it right back into a long legged position. Turn the toes to face that long edge of the mat. Yeah, good. Okay, and then as you exhale, squeeze the heels in, press the toes out so you feel that energy rise upwards through the legs into your pelvis. And then we're going to come halfway down. So the crown of the head reaches forward. Maybe you feel like the sitting bones extend back. And then the hands come all the way down to the earth. Okay, so we're going to play around with this a little bit. You're going to heel toe your feet out as wide as they can go until you feel that little stretch into the inner thigh. And then just take a little breath here. Try to soften without forcing. Okay, and then if you feel like you can, you're going to come to sitting. So I would take one hand behind and sit all the way down. But if you need to, you can bend the knees and come down a different way. So we just end up in this kind of wide-legged position. Okay, so from there, I should have said grab your block. So find your block, and we're going to just take it to the inside of your right leg to begin with. Okay, so we're gonna do build a little heat here again. So you can take your hands up by your hips to keep it a little bit balanced, but try not to lean back. So out to the side, so your spine remains nice and tall. And then you're gonna lift your right leg and bring it over the block. It's easy, it's a little bit challenging. And then we're gonna go back and forth a few times. Lifting over and lowering down. You should feel your quads fire up a bit and your hamstrings. Do a few rounds of that. Yep. If you're finding it really easy, you can lift your block a little bit higher. Yeah. Go a little bit or over the block. And remember, if you lean back, you'll make it a bit easier. So see if you can come forward. Unless you really do need to lean back. Yeah. Good, good, good. It's just building that control. Feeling in the quads? You're like, this is easy peasy. No, good. Okay, let's do one more round. we'll swap it over. So bring that block to the inside of your opposite leg. Lifting over and back. You might do a few with the block on its lower end. And if you feel ready, you go higher. Nice. Try to straighten your leg a little bit more, Laura, if you can. Yeah, good work. Let's do one more round. Good. And then keep the legs wide, but you might bring them a little bit closer in together, more like a V shape. Take one hand in front and the other hand behind. And you're just going to press into the ground so you feel your arms switch on quite a lot. So as your arms switch on, you might find that the weight lifts your bum just a tiny bit off the ground. Or maybe it's just the feeling, the transference of weight into the hands. And then try the other side. So the opposite hand comes in front. Maybe you lift. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're just shifting weight, firing up through the arms. Good. As long as it feels okay for the wrist, that's brilliant. And then walk both hands out in front once again. Keep the legs as they are. And we'll set up for our first yin pose. So your choice, you can have the toes rolling in, you can have them rolling out. You can bring the legs narrower or wider. The knees could also be bent. And you might use your grip for a little bit of a support as you bring the hands forward and down. And now we're just really trying to bring that energy inwards, right? All that fire that we've just built up. See if you can draw it back into the places where your body or your psyche needs to energize. Relax back of the neck and the shoulders. Try to avoid reaching or striving now. Really coming into that kind of yin mentality where you just allow yourself to really feel that sort of beautiful pull of gravity, right? It's that sense of ourselves being pulled towards the earth, right? We're not being pressed upon, we're being drawn down and held down in a secure way. See if you can breathe, really tuning into your diaphragm, to that really beautiful, strong, diaphragmatic breath. Helps to elongate the breath. To draw the awareness deeper inwards. So how can you direct energy in your life in the direction you would like to go in? There is this yogic expression that energy goes, energy flows where attention goes. here for a few more breaths. We're just going to hold some of our yin poses for a little bit longer this evening, just to really draw inwards, to allow that fiery energy that we cultivated in flow to really land in the body. Right, quite often the energy we built up gets spilled outwards. We don't give it time to really absorb into our bodies. Always going to the next thing. Slowly use your hands to support your sort of lift out of this one. And we are going to come into a rebound, so whichever sort of shape you feel called to, maybe lying onto the back or the belly. Back feels like a natural place for me to go, just to feel that kind of opening through the front body. Let's see what calls you. Again, just allow that, the feeling of the yin stretch to move through the whole of the body. Gently start to just prepare yourself to roll over, come back up to our seat. So for this next setup, let's adjust the camera so we can see, and take your blanket, and if it needs to be just kind of refolded or anything, so it just is nice and flat for you, we're going to make it into that sort of like a small pillow shape, like that. And you'll have that to the head of your bolster, your head of your mat, bolsters on the brain. And we're going to use our block to come into that thoracic opening. So using it to support the upper back spine, so that we feel that sort of lift of the solar plexus. So you just set it up so that you can adjust yourself as you come to seated and rest down onto the elbows. Then find your block so that you can bring it right at that kind of base of the upper back, so it supports that kind of upper rib cage. And then rest your head down onto the pillow. And your choice here, you can have the knees bent or extended. You could go for soles of the feet together as well. So you have that Go through your lower back, and then options with the arms would be to extend them over the head or out to the side. And then as you're here, see if you can really focus on the sense of the breath moving through the whole of your rib cage. So front, back, and sides. So when we really learn how to hone our ability to stoke that inner fire, we become able to transform things and achieve things without that kind of forcefulness or without too much effort. If it feels like it's poking into the back too much, you can try moving it upwards a little bit. Can't really see too well. If there's any places you can soften, let go. So the pose takes on an effortless quality. So take your last couple of breaths here. At the same time preparing just to move a little bit. So we're going to roll to the side here. So use one arm as a support. So you roll yourself over. You can just lie onto your side, that might feel most comfortable. Or you can lie onto your back for your rebound. Go into that space in the back body. Sense of release, pressure, place where the block was. And then slowly start to lift yourself up to seated. So I'm going to bring a chair because I think you all probably have more chairs than you have wall space. Would that be correct? Okay, so we'll do it with a chair, but if you do have a wall that you would like to use for this, you can. So have your block nearby, and you're going to come into legs on the chair with the block. So we'll do kind of two variations. Have the legs resting to begin with. And then if you feel comfortable, you can come into a free floating legs up the wall pose. But if it just feels a bit better to rest your legs onto your couch or your chair for today, do. And so what's happened here for me is it's actually, the chair is a bit too low because of the brick, so you might even bring an extra blanket to support under the calf muscles. So you kind of feel like your knees and the tops of the shins are at more of a 90-degree angle. You'll feel your pelvis, the sacrum, the pelvis resting onto chair. Nice. Yeah, it's also a little softer. Those nice cushions there. Beautiful. And try it with the block and without the block if you like. It could be that maybe the block just isn't right this evening, but it does add that little bit of lift for the pelvis, and then the energy kind of pours from the feet down into the pelvis and then over and into the sort of solar plexus, up into the diaphragm. Can you exert your will, your energy in a way that leads to the expected results in an almost effortless way? Relaxing your shoulders, head. If you'd like to take the last few moments with the legs suspended upwards, maybe give it a go. Otherwise, just stay as you are. Just a few more breaths. And then slowly just bend the knees. And maybe you can place them onto the floor if you have space, or move the chair a little bit away so you can get your block out from underneath you. Good. Just take a moment here, resting the lower back onto the ground once again. And then with as minimal effort as possible, we're going to come into our final just resting pose. So gathering all the cozy stuff, blankets, pillows. Making your way down. You feel into the heaviness of the feet, the legs. You see if you can tune into that sense of gravity and it's pulling you towards the center of the earth. The whole body completely relaxing. Shoulders, and the face. As once the winged energy of delight carried you over childhood's dark abysses, now beyond your own life, build the great arch of unimagined bridges. Wonders happen if we can succeed in passing through the harshest danger, but only in a bright and purely granted achievement can we realize the wonder. To work with things in the indescribable relationship is not too hard for us. The pattern grows more intricate and subtle, and being swept along is not enough. Take your practice powers and stretch them out until they span the chasm between two contradictions. For the universe wants to know itself in you. Slowly, in your own way, starting to find a little bit of movement. And whenever you feel ready, but you can also just stay. Make your way up to a seat, a comfortable seat. Just one final moment in this comfortable upright position, feeling grounding of the sitting bones and the lift through the crown of the head. And just bring that focus and attention inwards, just tuning into how the body feels, that energetic quality now after your practice. Palms gently gather in front of the chest. Taking just a moment of gratitude for your awesome body, the wonderful things it does, carries you through this life. And to everybody who joined us in this practice, we bow forward, gratitude and respect towards one another. Namaste.